what he always said: if you don't vote, you don't count. Say it with me. If you don't vote, you don't count. Now, what does that mean? Doesn't mean that you're not important. Doesn't mean that you're not loved. It just means literally that nobody's counting you. Nobody's counting you. Y'all call, I'm gonna say it the way that my dad used to say it. Y'all call those congressmen's office raising sand. Y'all know what that is? Or is that strictly Mississippi? Okay. Y'all call their offices raising sand? Raising sand. Because y'all don't like something that they did or a way that something that they voted, and you're trying to encourage them to vote the way that you want. The first thing they're gonna do is go and see if you vote before they even call you back. They don't know how you voted, but they know that you vote. And you want to make sure that you can say, when they go and look at your record, that you can say present, right? Last weekend, nearly 1,000 citizens showed up for the No Kings Day in Baton Rouge. I am so happy that you are here today because we plan to keep the momentum going. Because we want to assure that the people's voices are heard. The only way that we can, first way we make them heard is to, oh, I love y'all. The first way to make our voices heard is to vote. Vote like your lives depend on it. Because they do. We are so glad that you're here this afternoon. We are here not as members of a particular party, but as engaged citizens committed to informed discussion. Informed discussion, can y'all say informed discussion? Informed discussion. Civic participation. And the shared goal of strengthening our communities. This meeting is an open space for dialogue where all voices, can y'all say all voices? Are valued and respected. Okay, I may disagree with y'all on some of y'all stuff. I'll tell y'all when y'all leave outside. But I'm gonna respect you, right? Because there's a reason that you believe the way that you do. Everybody's experiences are different, and we need to be able to respect those differences. We value those differences. We encourage thoughtful conversation, a spirit of collaboration, and a commitment to working together for the common good. Thank you for taking the time to be here, to listen and to learn and to contribute. When you come up to speak, when you fill out one of those cards, you are contributing, and we will make sure that your congresspeople get those cards. Let's make the most of this opportunity to engage in meaningful discussion and action. I want to extend apologies and regrets of our chair, Melissa Flournoy, Dr. Melissa Flournoy, who could not be with us today. And for those of you who know Melissa, you know that is a rare occurrence. Melissa is under doctor's care today, and she wasn't feeling well enough to be here. So please, for those of you who pray, please keep her lifted up in prayer, because we need Melissa Flournoy. Again, I thank you for taking the time to be here, and I am so pleased to introduce, y'all, I didn't just invite all my friends, but this is one of my friends. Jan Moeller, who is the Executive Director of Invest in Louisiana, formerly the Budget Project, to give us an overview of pending federal legislation that has been proposed and supported by and supported by the current leadership in Congress and in the White House. Jan Moeller.
Good afternoon. It's such an honor to be here and so amazing to see so many friends, neighbors, people who take time out on a very hot Saturday when all of us want to be indoors, and you're here because you care. And I don't have any long prepared remarks. When Melissa asked you to come, you show up. But this is there's an incredibly important and timely debate happening on Capitol Hill right now. If you pay attention to the news at all, you're probably familiar with what the president calls the one big beautiful bill. And that's his words, not mine. And just to back up, if you're familiar with Invest in Louisiana, we're a state policy organization. We look at state policies and specifically how those policies can lift up low and moderate income families in Louisiana. And when we think about the poverty that we see in Louisiana, when we think about the inequality we see, the income gaps, the racial wealth gaps in Louisiana. There's a big income gap. There's a much bigger wealth gap between white families and black families. Those are the results of policy choices, not policy choices that necessarily were made by these elected officials, but have been made over the course of 300 years that got us where we are today. So policy is important. Policy can really help lift up people's lives, give everybody a fair shot to reach the American dream. And when we talk about low and moderate income families, I always talk about the United Way's ALICE report. ALICE is asset limited, income constrained, and employed. And a different measure of poverty, that people who are living below the poverty line, but those who live slightly above it, but are still having trouble making ends meet every month, who might be one financial emergency away from really being in deep economic trouble. And when you look at the ALICE population, it's about half of the people in Louisiana. So we all know people in this income group. We all know people, friends, neighbors, family, people we run into in the grocery store who are below the ALICE threshold. And they need policy to work for them. And so there's a bill right now, and I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of Washington speak. Before I did this long ago, I was a reporter in Washington. President Trump basically put his entire domestic agenda into this one bill. And the reason he's putting it into one bill is because in the Senate they have something called the filibuster, which takes 60 votes to override a filibuster, but you can pass a bill with 51 votes in the Senate if you do it through reconciliation. And so the big beautiful bill, the big ugly bill, whatever you want to call it, is a reconciliation bill, and it has to pass. So I'm just going to say right now, it's not about whether or not this bill is going to pass or not, because they have to pass something. The tax cuts that passed in 2017 expire at the end of the year. More importantly, they have to have a budget, and there's also the debt ceiling that we have already hit. The federal debt ceiling. Right now, they're taking what's called extraordinary measures, but sometime in July, maybe as late as August, we are going to hit the debt ceiling. We're not going to be able to borrow any more money. So there's just all the incentive in the world for something to pass. The other bad news about this is that the senators to my left are almost certainly going to vote in favor of this bill. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't walk out of here without hope, because there are chances to make this bill better, and that chance is right now. The bill right now is on target to get to the president's desk by July 4th. They may or may not make that deadline, but they sure are going to try. And the votes that are going to be happening in the Senate, the bill has already passed the House, are going to happen in the Senate as early as this week. So this is not a next week problem or 2 weeks from now problem, or I'll get to it when I can problem. This is a right now problem. And all of you have a voice in this debate. So let's talk a little bit about what it does. And I'm not going to go into too many of the details because the details are changing. But the broad outlines of what is happening here are very clear. This bill cuts taxes by trillions of dollars, cuts taxes across the board. But if you're in that Alice population, maybe you get $50, maybe you get $100 a year in tax cuts. If you're in that top 0.1%, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars. So we are cutting taxes primarily for wealthy people and wealthy corporations. That is going to raise the deficit. The latest estimate that I've seen is that it's going to increase the federal debt by $3.4 trillion over 5 years. Even by Washington standards, that's an enormous amount. And look, I know we've all been hearing about the debt for probably 40, 50 years. I know I have. It really is getting to the point where we can't keep putting everything on the credit card. But the most important thing and the biggest danger in this is the way that they are trying to pay for some, not all of these tax cuts. And that is by cutting programs that Louisiana families all across the country, but particularly in Louisiana, depend on, and that is Medicaid, that is SNAP, which is food stamps. I'm told I have 2 minutes. SNAP and food stamps. And so the Medicaid cuts alone would throw hundreds of thousands of people. Now, Medicaid in Louisiana covers 1 in 3 Louisianans, and it covers over half of all children. So when we talk about cutting Medicaid, we're talking about people with low incomes, people in nursing homes, children from low-income families, and people with disabilities. The cuts to SNAP, what they're doing to SNAP, to food stamps, is essentially right now the benefits are 100% paid for by the federal government. The state just pays the administrative costs. For the first time ever, the state would have a cost share. Under the bill that passed the House, it would add an extra $300 million a year in costs to the state government. That's more money than we send to the entire University of Louisiana system in an entire year. So they're paying for tax cuts for the wealthiest, most powerful people in America by making cuts to programs that help 1/3 of Louisianans and half of all children. That is immoral. And that is why, and one of the things we saw, and this is why this isn't a partisan issue, the legislative session ended a little over a week ago. The House and Senate, this didn't really make the papers, each of them passed a resolution unanimously urging Congress not to cut Medicaid. So the Republican leaders of the House and Senate understand how much pressure this would put on the state budget, how much pressure this would put on communities, on hospitals, on rural hospitals, on grocery stores that need SNAP benefits. So this is a very big deal. And the fact that the legislature unanimously went on record against these cuts means we all can join them in explaining to our elected officials why they should not cut Medicaid, why they should not cut SNAP, protect these programs, protect the people who depend on them, and the time to make that contact is now. So I wish I could stand here and tell you with a straight face that I think Bill Cassidy and John Kennedy are going to vote against this bill. They're not, but you can ask them to make a bad bill just a little bit better. And we all have that opportunity. Now's the time to use your voice because this debate matters and it's happening right now. Thank you so much for coming out. Appreciate everybody.
I told y'all my friend Yarn was good, and he's passionate, and he does this every day. When nobody sees him, he's doing this work, and I appreciate him. Thank you, Yarn. Okay, so y'all see that beautiful little baby that's walking around with the basket? She is a seasoned public servant. She is a, y'all, I'm not kidding. That baby has been working with us since she was 2, since she was big enough. That is Lauren. And Lauren's job today is to collect your postcards. So if you have postcards that you want to make sure get to your congressperson, your senator, please put them in the little basket that Lauren is, because that's what she's asking for. If she didn't articulate it, she's asking for your postcards, so that we can make sure that our SNAP and our Medicaid is not cut. Because y'all, if it is, we all suffer, right? Yon, thank you so very much for being here, and thank you for all that you do. Y'all are going to hear right now a lot of Melissa Flournoy. Although she's not here, she gave me talking points. That's Melissa. But you're gonna hear them from the mouth of Frida. So our goal today, as we said earlier, is to educate, to encourage, and to energize you. Your voice matters. We want to share your real concerns. You are the real people, and our elected officials need to hear from you. They need to hear from you. Before we get to the rules for this event, I want to be clear about who we are and who we are not, and why we are here. We talked about town halls and as nonpartisan and non-denominational events because we believe that the voice of all voters matter. We want to create a space for us to hear and the concerns and issues of you, our neighbors. I want to make a point, because we call this the empty chair event for a reason. Every congressperson that represents this greater Baton Rouge area was invited to attend today. You notice that we have Representative Fields, Congressman Fields over here, and everybody else over here. That's because everybody else didn't respond. Y'all hear me? Y'all need me to call their names? I'll call them. I ain't got no problem. That is Senator Bill Cassidy. That is Senator John Kennedy. That is Congresswoman Letlow. That is Congressman, Speaker of the House. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He had one last night, he had one today. And because he couldn't be here in person, he sent 2 representatives from his office. Thank you. You're going to hear from them a little bit later, but I want them, and I've asked them to stay to the end so that they can hear from you, so that they can take back firsthand to Congressman Fields the information and the concerns that each of you voices. Everyone here today is a volunteer or a concerned citizen. We are local people. We are deeply, deeply concerned about what is happening in Washington, D.C., and dare I say, also at the at the State House. Just saying. And the devastating effects many of those actions are having on ordinary, hardworking people, especially the middle class, our seniors who don't have unlimited resources, and they can't give anybody a $400 million plane. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Okay. We are your neighbors, your friends, and acquaintances. People you see at the grocery store, at the Social Security office if you have an appointment, at local restaurants. Y'all missed that. Local restaurants, people you go to church with. We're just average people who care about each other, who understand that collectively we must work together, because divided we fall. I'm sorry, I'm gonna revert to something. Y'all just forgive me, because it's just, in addition to being a lawyer, I'm a Sunday school teacher. And I know that the word says that a house divided against itself cannot stand. Cannot stand. We have to work together. We have to make it known to our legislators that we care about all of the people who are located in our community. We care about the immigrants. I have a bracelet on right now because I went to Refugees and Immigrants Awareness Day over at the Catholic Diocese before coming here today, because our immigrants are human beings who do not need to be tossed away. Oh, listen, y'all know y'all can't look at people and tell where they from, right? Because I'm a mutt. I got a little bit of everything, right? And so do many of you. But what I know about all of us, the ancestors that you can see in my face did not come here voluntarily. But some of my other ones were already here when y'all got here. And others who came along with you, right? So we have to make sure that we are lifting everyone up and that we're not discarding anyone. I don't know what other people are going to say today, but I can tell you a few things that are of concern to 10,000 women Louisiana. We think that we are all in favor of streamlining government. We know that we can make government a bit more efficient, but it needs to be done carefully. It needs to be well thought out. It needs to be based on fact and evidence, right? It needs to be designed. Thank you. It needs to be designed to truly make things better so that we're not starving people who depend on us for food that is wasting away. We need to protect vital government programs that protect our country, that provide critical services to our citizens, which are all on the chopping block, y'all, with little or no regard for the consequences. People who know that they don't have to pay for court actions. They use the levers of our government to do things that they know are unconstitutional because they don't have to pay for it when we go to court. They use our tax dollars against us. The chaos in Washington, I could say it was caused by Elon Musk, but Elon Musk didn't do this by himself. He had a complicit Congress. He had a president without a heart who told him to go and do this stuff, and people are literally dying. We did, however, elect these members of Congress. Whether you actively voted for these people, or whether you stayed home and let some other people go and vote, and because you didn't vote, the person that you least want to see in office is in office, and they are ignoring you. We need elected officials who care about Louisiana and about Louisiana, the voices of Louisianans, who support the United States Constitution, who believe in the separation of powers and checks and balances that they taught me in 9th grade civics. So that is why we're here. And what I want our members of Congress to hear from our conversations, from their constituents, the very people they represent, whether you voted for them or not, they represent all of us. Whether you voted for them or not, when they assume that position, they work for all of us. Our elected officials owe us the courtesy of listening to our voices and to act in all of our best interests, not just in the best interests of the President of the United States, whose interest, okay, I'm sorry, I was about to explain something. And certainly not in the best interest of unelected billionaires. We have the pictures I said earlier of Senator Cassidy, Congresswoman Letlow, Speaker of the House Johnson, and Congressman Fields. Our mission is to document your concerns and to share them with the elected officials. We want our elected officials to know what the people who are paying their salaries, that we are paying attention. We need them to know that we're paying attention. Y'all, we're always at the legislature, and the first thing that they say when we go to committee, nobody in my district said anything about that. They're not concerned about that. I want y'all to help us make liars out of them. Make sure that they know what it is that we're concerned about. How did they get elected if they don't know what we're concerned about? Now on to your thoughts. What are you concerned about? The format today is, for those of you who have signed up to speak, you received a number. If you have a speaker card, you will have 2 minutes to speak. I know that you will be respectful of the time of all these people who sacrifice their Saturdays to come out. If you have some more that you need to say after you're done with your 2 minutes, we'll take a card from you too. There is a timekeeper. There's a timer on a laptop somewhere in front of us, right? We will hold up a yellow card when you have 30 seconds. And we will hold up a red card when you are out of time. If you don't have a chance to speak again, please write down your thoughts on the postcards that we put and make sure that you give them to Lauren. She has her little basket and she's very proud of the work that she's doing. If you have a chance to speak and you write a card, each of your congresspeople will receive your card. If you would like a record, a video message, I'm sorry, that wasn't the correct pronunciation. If you would like to record a video message, we have a videographer, and they will be outside of this room when this event is over, and you will have an opportunity to verbalize your concerns in a video. It'll be edited a little bit to put it together with everybody else's comments, but we won't edit out the essence of what you want to say. This meeting is being live streamed on our 10,000 Women Facebook page. Let's get started. We have a few, let's see, Gerald. I want to introduce you to Gerald Garisco from Indivisible, and then we're going to start with bringing up our people to speak. Gerald?
Well, for what it's worth, the last name is Geruso, People have been mixing me up with the Gurisco family for years, and then I discovered we're all related by marriage anyway. So thank you, Alfreda. What a joy it is to see this room full of all of you who have something to say. I can't wait to hear you address these members of Congress, whether they bothered to show up or not. Well, it's my privilege to represent the leadership of Indivisible Baton Rouge and tell you a little something about the movement. And I'm not going to call everybody's name, but anybody who's a member of the leadership team of Indivisible, if you'd like to stand up and be recognized. Indivisible is a grassroots movement that was founded in 2016 after the first election of, The mission is to elect progressive leaders, rebuild and save our democracy, and defeat authoritarianism. And thousands of local groups have sprung up across the nation organically, just like in Baton Rouge. An active group started in 2017. We were very active for a long time, and then we just sort of faded away until just a few months ago after the other election. 8 people got together to talk about forming a new Indivisible group. And the leadership has grown to 14 people who've worked together to bring you the April 5th Hands Off event at the state capitol that drew something like 600 of y'all. And as mentioned last Saturday's No Kings group. Thank you. Where we've filled parts of downtown Baton Rouge with up to 2,000 people. That was y'all. You gave up a Saturday just like you're giving up another Saturday today. It was a peaceful, joyful statement. And we were in solidarity with millions of Americans all over this country to say that we treasure our democracy and we reject the authoritarian turn that our government is taking. Indivisible believes in a multiracial, inclusive democracy where everyone has equal rights and equal power, no matter where you live, who you love, or what you look like. That's the America that we're all fighting for, and that's why you're here today. We're committed to nonviolence in everything that we do. Indivisible rejects all forms of political violence and intimidation. Authoritarians want us to feel powerless. They rely on fear and division to keep us quiet. But we believe in the power of the people to challenge that, and that an organized people can beat organized hate, fear, and chaos. Now, if you'd like to see how you can become a part of Indivisible, you can go to our Facebook page, Indivisible Baton Rouge, or you can join us Monday, this coming Monday, the 23rd, at 6 p.m. at a venue called The Guru. It's at 1857 Government Street in the Circa 1857 complex. Come on out, join us, see how you can be a member, and resist, okay? Thank you for coming, and I can't wait to see what y'all have to say.
All right, y'all. Time to get this party started. All right? I want to hear from you all. Gerald's going to help me in bringing up the speakers. And if you are number one, I want you to come right here and speak to the people and also let your Congress people know what is of concern to you. Thank you. You can say your name if you'd like.
I am Josie. I come from Belgium, but I'm a citizen since 2020. I'm concerned about Medicaid. I'm concerned about our seniors. What is going to happen to seniors? I want our veterans to be respected and protected and not fired. Mike Johnson, in your district, 40% depend on Medicaid. How dare you to do this? Kennedy, and the other one that I forgot his name. You are supposed to represent us. How could you say yes to a jester like Bob Kennedy, who doesn't believe in vaccination and what other, I'm going to say a bad word, shit? How could you say yes to Dr. House, the crook of the TV? Why do we have clowns in the government? You are supposed to defend us. When did you lose your soul? When did you lose your moral compass? My husband is a MAGA. I asked him yesterday, where is your moral compass? When did you sold your soul to the MAGA and to a cult? Stand up, Republicans and Democrats. When I became a citizen, I learned there are three different branches: judiciary, legislative, and executive. They all three have to be separated. Defend, stand up for the Constitution and the rule of law. Merci beaucoup.
I told y'all got something to say, right? The person who has number 2, please introduce yourself if you're comfortable and go at it.
I'm Grace Anderson. I live here in Baton Rouge. In 1776, John Adams wrote in his discussion about the government and the role of the government, objects of the most stupendous magnitude and measure in which the lives and liberties of millions yet unborn are intimately interested. In 1776, he was talking about us. We were the unborn, are now before us. We are in the very midst of a revolution, the most complete, unexpected, and remarkable of any in the history of nations. At a time when we often forget that liberty is both America's rationale and its greatness, Americans would profit from Adams' wisdom. Thank you.
Number 3, please introduce yourself if you're comfortable.
Hi, my name is Megan Sheehan Dean, and I've lived in Louisiana for 12 years. Earlier this year, when commenting on DOJ's agenda during an interview on Fox News, I heard Senator Kennedy say, "To my friends who are upset, call somebody who cares." No, Senator Kennedy, you have forgotten that in a representative democracy, the job of elected officials like you is to care about your constituents, not succumb to the allure of being the darling of Fox News. I am angry and I want you to listen. In the words of my almost 3-year-old grandnephew, just stop it right now. That's what he says in response to bullying behavior. And that's what I say to you. Stop it. Stop supporting policies that harm the citizens of our state. Limiting access to Medicaid harms people in Louisiana. Undoing equity-focused programs harms people in Louisiana. Closing an LGBTQ+ hotline harms people in Louisiana. Ending the CDC's preventative health programs harms people in Louisiana. And giving tax breaks to the wealthiest 1%, offset by cutting programs, harms people in Louisiana. You represent all of us in this state. Behave like it. And to Senator Cassidy, you're a trained physician. You didn't help your patients by misses. You looked at evidence. Why then did you ignore all of the evidence from RFK Jr.'s past and accept his pinky promise in order to get your confirmation vote? His vaccine policy is hurting people in Louisiana. His horribly misguided approach to autism is hurting people in Louisiana. What are you supporting that will actually help make Louisianans healthy? There are many concerns I want to talk about, so it's good I have a time limit. But what I want to address most is the Department of Education. I'm an educator, and I'm all for local control of schools and curriculum, and that already exists. We need the Federal Department of Education to ensure access to education for all children. I work with families whose children receive special education services. Without federal guidance, oversight, and funding, access to education isn't guaranteed for all children. The recent audit showed that for more than 5 years, Louisiana, along with 21 other states, has needed assistance with meeting requirements with the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. So dissolving the Federal Department of Education, coupled with cuts to Medicaid, that's not going to help children and families with disabilities. It will devastate them. Remember, you represent all Louisianans. We want your words and actions to show it.
Thank you so much. Number four. I told y'all we had something to say. Number 4.
I'm not as impassioned as some of the other speakers, but bear with me. I had sent an email to Senator Kennedy opposing the cuts to public broadcasting, specifically NPR and PBS. Here was part of his response. He said, "In recent years, I have been gravely concerned about the blatant bias of media outlets such as NPR and other broadcasting companies. It is disgraceful that taxpayer money is used to consistently and deliberately promote a political agenda, and it should be stopped." I think he should be stopped. But anyway, I am appalled at the very narrow-minded focus he presents. Both NPR and PBS provide extensive programming in addition to news, including programs on history, documentaries, art, music, travel, culture, food, mysteries, drama, and of course, programs for children's education. Some of my PBS favorites are Masterpiece Theater, Grantchester, Antiques Roadshow, Finding Your Roots, and others. Children's educational programs include such shows as Sesame Street, Daniel the Tiger's Neighborhood, Alma's Way, and Odd Squad. On LPV television, Louisiana programs include Louisiana Legends, Louisiana Young Heroes, Art Rocks, Louisiana Spotlight, Louisiana Harvest of the Month, and Why Louisiana Ain't Mississippi or any place else. That's just to name some of them. Public radio also includes programs on art, music, and culture in addition to news. Programs like Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, TED Radio Hour, Fresh Air, All Things Considered. Local Louisiana programs includes Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tucker, Louisiana Considered, Talk Louisiana with Jim Engster, and Gulf States Gumbo, to name a few. But let's get back to the news. You are concerned about news having a political agenda. I disagree. I find the content from award-winning journalists reporting informative and refreshing. The news is in-depth, based on facts and data, where such coverage is declining in the mainstream. The amount of funding is way less than 1% of the overall budget, and a small percentage of the budgets of NPR and PBS. Most of this federal funding goes to local stations. Many NPR stations are the only source of emergency bulletins, and in some rural areas with limited broadband access, the only source of news at all. I can only hope that you will broaden your mind to a broader perspective of what public broadcasting provides.
Thank you. I did want to ask, are you comfortable saying your name?
Melissa Kennedy, Baton Rouge.
Number 5, she was waiting with bated breath.
I am not going to introduce myself by name, but I am here as a Louisiana resident, as a voter, as a citizen, and as a taxpayer. And I send this message to Representative Letlow. I read with interest your editorial in The Advocate published this week, where you emphasize the benefits to families if the reconciliation bill is passed. But you did not address the projected increase in the federal deficit over 10 years. I heard earlier today a number of $3.4 trillion increase over 10 years to the deficit. How does increasing the deficit by this magnitude benefit Louisiana's families? How does it benefit families in your district? And furthermore, you did not address the harms to Louisiana families in this bill. And by that, I would mention the cuts to SNAP benefits, the cuts to Medicaid, 1 in 3 Louisiana citizens covered by Medicaid, half of the children in Louisiana covered by Medicaid, harmful changes to the federal worker pay, cutting funding for the consumer financial protection by 70%, raising the debt limit by $5 trillion, the sale of millions of acres of public lands. And in conclusion, Representative Letlow, may I remind you that you are called to represent everyone in this district, everyone. Including Democrats.
Number 6. Oh, here we go.
Hi, my name is June Bullock, and I am 6 years old. I know what Donald Trump is doing with immigrants is wrong. I have friends that are immigrants, and they are a happy family. If they got kicked out, I would be really sad, because they are my best friends. My family loves their family very much. They teach me Spanish and we teach them English. My friend's mom, Miss Wani, cooks really good food and she invites us over to eat dinner. I love learning stuff about where they're from. And I know that in Mexico they celebrate birthdays for a really long time because they love singing and dancing and having fun. Donald Trump is kicking out a bunch of people and maybe even thousands of people. Even if they're allowed to live here like my friends, if he doesn't know that it's wrong, he should know that this country was not always ours. Other people lived here before us. Our country was stolen from people who don't look like me. People living here from other countries should be allowed to live here because we were. Our country is better with immigrants in it. We can share it because we stole it. Another thing some people love. Another thing, some people love him, but they should know that what he does is wrong. He acts like he loves Jesus, but he doesn't. Jesus loves all people, no matter what they look like.
Amen.
Donald Trump doesn't. Jesus doesn't make people love him. He lets people decide. Donald Trump makes people love him. And if they don't, he acts mean to them. Jesus took care of sick people. Donald Trump doesn't. He just doesn't care. He even makes fun of them. Jesus acts kind. Donald Trump acts mean and says words that are not nice. Donald Trump does things that are not nice. Donald Trump is doing things very wrong. People should do something about it. And no one is. It seems like they don't care. I don't think he should even be the president. I don't like calling him president. Thank you for listening.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mom. Bring your baby back. Bring your baby back. Face this audience for me. Okay, so I'm going back to Sunday school and I'm telling y'all now. Bring them up in the way that they should go. And when they are old, they will not depart from it. Mama, give this mama a hand. Number seven. Oh, okay, good, okay. All right, we had two numbers. Okay, number 8. Oh, here we go.
Hi, my name is Bob Mann, and I want to address this to Senator Cassidy, because I know, Senator Cassidy, how much you love your position as U.S. Senator. I've served as staffer to 2 U.S. Senators for over 20 years, and I know what a great job it is to serve in the U.S. Senate. But I also know what it's like to give up a job you love because you can no longer afford to perform your duties with dignity and integrity. The day after Jeff Landry was elected governor, I realized I would not be able to do my job without sacrificing my principles and self-respect, so I announced my retirement. As much as I love my position at LSU, my independence and my self-respect were more important to me. Senator Cassidy, you've made a different decision. By supporting Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, you've traded your self-respect and your principles for the opportunity to keep your job. You've shown that a U.S. Senate seat is more important to you than your dignity. You've shown us that winning Donald Trump's favor is more important than the integrity of our nation's public health system. You've shown us that winning back the hearts of Trump and MAGA is more important to you than speaking the truth about how RFK lied to you and is dismantling our nation's vaccine infrastructure. You've shown us that your political future is more important than the lives and well-being of your constituents, especially young children and the elderly. I don't know what chance you have of winning re-election next year, but I do know the terrible and deadly price that you are paying to keep your job. Senator Cassidy, it's not too late to turn around and start speaking the truth about how President Trump and RFK Jr. are destroying our nation's public health system. Please speak out for us. Please use your powers in the Senate to do something about it. The health and well-being of your constituents must be more important to you than a U.S. Senate seat.
Number 9.
Hi, my name is Jen Larkin. I'm on Medicaid and I'm disabled, and they're trying to enact work requirements for Medicaid. Now, when they enacted work requirements for SNAP in Louisiana, I lost SNAP because I was unable to jump through the hoops that they put into place. The problem with the Medicaid system that with the work requirements is that you have to have medical care in order to meet the needs of the work requirement exemption. But if you don't have medical care because you can't have Medicaid without the exemption, then you're in a catch-22. You simply cannot get health care if you don't have health care already, because you can't get a note from your doctor if you don't have a doctor. I also would just like to speak to everyone. I know that this is a very hard time for all of us, We're all going to have bad days, and when we do have those bad days, remember that all of us in the community are standing together, and you can reach out and get help from someone in your community, your friends, your family, even online, and have them hold you up that day. And then on another day when you're having a good day, you can hold someone else up. And by doing this, we can stick together and we can win this thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. How many of you know that everything that you have heard today, everything that is of concern to the people that are sitting next to you, are a result of public policy decisions? We have to assure that we elect people who care about everybody, because those very public policy decisions that they make that we think will impact somebody else, they are coming for you. If everybody else gets sick because they haven't had RSV vaccines or COVID vaccines or measles and mumps and rubella, that affects everybody. Am I right, Dr. Holly Galen? I saw my friend Holly back there. I had to shout her out. But she's a physician, been a physician for a long time. She's seen all of this stuff. Y'all, we are one, they say 6 degrees of separation. We are 1 degree of separation. Better care about each other, or we're all. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "We will live together as brothers, or we will perish together as fools." Number 10. Do we have a number 10? There we go.
My name is Sonny Cranch. I was asked to address this group today on the subject of immigration. And the reason I was asked is because my friend, Jenny Hastings, knows that I've been actively involved in supporting the Afghan and Ukrainian refugees that have ended up in Baton Rouge. I had no clue what was involved in the immigration process 2.5 years ago. I have learned so much more than I never expected to ever know about how difficult it is to become an American. It is not an easy process, but there is a process. And what has disturbed me so much, hell, everything disturbs me, but among the things that disturb me has been the behavior of ICE in this just unbridled attack on humanity. And I've been working with, as I said, Afghan refugees who came on the evacuation flight and arrived, about 40 or so, arrived in Baton Rouge under the sponsorship of Catholic Charities. Thank you, Catholic Charities. And there have been a couple of Ukrainian refugees who I've helped as well, one of whom is living in my guest room now. He arrived back in September. We have never had our homes destroyed by the Taliban or blown up by the Russians. We were never arrested by Russian soldiers and put in prison simply because, as a mechanic, you repaired Ukrainian military vehicles, but my house guest experienced that very process and made it to America. But at any rate, we are a nation of immigrants, and some of whom came here under some very difficult situations, and more who will continue to come for those very same reasons. And I would like to ask our congressional representatives to understand that the future of America is with everybody who lands on our shores. Thank you.
Do we have a number 11?
Hi, my name is Monica Murphy. I'm here to speak about an app called 5 Calls. How many of you have ever heard of 5 Calls? Okay, well, and a lot of you haven't. This is the way that I call my representatives every single day. In fact, the people from Representative Fields' office might know my name, Monica Murphy, because I call the first 2 guys and say, get your act together, and I call the other guy and say, thank you so much for being in the good fight, you know? So, a quick thing about 5 Calls, it's the number 5, followed by the word calls. It's a blue circle with 5 white stars. You'll have to put in your zip code so they know who your representative is. You do not have to put in your email, even though they ask for it. There's a skip this step or no thanks. So if you're not comfortable with that, which I didn't do. Anyway, the great part is that there's a list of topics. You tap on a topic. It gives you all the a description of it, and at the bottom is your 3 peeps, your 2 senators and your representative. You tap on their name, it has their direct number and a script. So you tap on their number, it makes the call for you, then you say, hey, my name is blah, 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 and I want you to this, that, and the other, and then you let the app know that you talked to them, left a voicemail, whatever. So this is great that we're here, but if everybody in this room made these calls every day, when I get to work, I don't get out of my car till I make my calls to my 3 peeps. And in the afternoon, I'll call the local number. In the morning, I'll call the Washington number, but okay. and here's something really important that we do need to talk about. I get the SNAP and Medicaid things, but has anybody heard of Section 70302? Okay, 1. See, this is even worse. Because we all have our 3 branches that are supposed to be checks and balances, right? Section 70302 allows the executive branch to ignore contempt orders from the courts. So right now, when the courts say something, the executive branch has not been just jumping up and straightening up like they're supposed to. So they can be held in contempt of court. But Section 70302 says that there's no teeth to being held in contempt of court. That is freaking scary. Thank you. 70302.
Monica. Oh, I'm sorry you had it on both sides. I want y'all to notice what her shirt says. Imagine being scared of diversity, but not dictatorship. Thank you. Okay, how many lawyers do we have in the room? I love y'all so much because I'm one of y'all. Y'all, that nonsense about not being able to hold somebody in contempt, who is contemptible, who is in contempt of court, who ignores the law, that nonsense about someone not being held accountable for committing crimes when crimes are obvious because there is a rule. Y'all ain't no law. Y'all hearing me? Ain't no law that says that a president of the United States cannot be held accountable for laws that they break. All that nonsense about immunity. When I say nonsense, I mean nonsense. Okay, y'all, that doesn't, I'm telling y'all, don't know how to practice law anymore because everything I learned about precedent and about the rule of law and the Constitution being the foundation, how many of the other lawyers are confused about it? Because I don't know how to analyze a case anymore, right? If you are involved in a conspiracy to commit a crime, if I, as an attorney, told my client how to commit a crime, I am complicit in that crime, and anything having to do with privilege is out the window. How much of an analogy is that consistent with a president who stands up in public and says, go commit this crime for me, and I will. Well, by the way, if you paid $1 million, then... Oh, my God. Yeah, and pardons are for sale. Just like citizenship. Y'all saw those $1 million citizenships for sale? Okay. Do we have a number 12? Thank you. I'm sorry, I editorialized.
I'm Victoria. From a perspective of healthcare equity, universal diversity, from a perspective of healthcare equity, universal diversity in academia, I'm proposing the following considerations to resolve the issue of how the wealthiest nation in the world is unable to afford healthcare coverage in the states for disabled, geriatric, and underserved populations. Project 2025 will create a default enrollment to Medicare Advantage to some currently enrolled Medicare enrollees, thus privatizing Medicare, creating up to $2 trillion of wasteful overpayments over the course of 10 years. Additionally, Medicare changes will overburden clinicians, thus people will soon have difficulty finding doctors to receive Medicare. This year, the House of Representatives advanced a proposal to cut $700 billion of Medicaid spending over the next 10 years. In KFF's analysis of 2021 healthcare utilization, adults in ACA Medicaid expansion states are more likely to use healthcare services than non-expansion states, on the basis of 1/3 of these adults having chronic and physical conditions and 1/4 having behavioral conditions. Additionally, the House of Representatives seek to change work requirements for Medicaid enrollees in order to finance tax cuts for the wealthy. This issue lacks clinical evidence and will create waste and severe harm to American healthcare systems and those who rely on it most. I propose, firstly, that stakeholders such as federal representatives, private payers, and policy researchers must use quality data and yearly projections with policy analysis before radical policy reform and make bad bills better. Secondly, fundamental human rights such as healthcare accessibility and the cost of living continue to be jeopardized to underqualified office officials, ignoring societal and economic burdens to the administration that it just continues to cause. We must diversify and incorporate qualified moral individuals across the entire administration. Lastly, we must see that these policy reforms are not feasible, are wasteful, and downright illegal because of the discriminatory impact on people with disabilities, physical limitations, according to the ADA and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. Thank you.
Number 13. We're going to get to at the end. We're not doing a question and answer today. We were doing presentations that we wanted to go to our representatives. So we did it a little bit different today. But if you have something that you want to go to your representative in particular, please don't forget to utilize your index cards, and Lauren or I will come by and pick them up.
Good afternoon. My name is Janina Fuller. I'm going to do a quick poll. Put your hand up really high if you've ever been in a hurricane. Anybody in here? Oh, look, how about that? Okay, second question. Anybody in here ever been flooded? Oh, look, how about that? Okay, so my husband and I were flooded twice, 2016 and again in 2021. We've been lucky with hurricanes. Do those words go together? Not really. But yeah, we've been lucky with hurricanes, but the floods, which were not associated with hurricanes, y'all, they were separate events, flooded twice. So we recovered once, we recovered again. We aged twice as fast in those times. We were out of our house for 10 months, both times, twice. He's been here, when we got flooded, he'd been here for about 50 years. I've been here for about 20 years. We didn't want to leave, but we were becoming climate refugees. We were looking for where we could go to get away from that mess. And then FEMA showed up at our door. FEMA. Remember FEMA? Can we hear it for FEMA? Literally showed up at our door with a packet of papers and a really nice guy who said, we think you qualify for this special program, which we did, where FEMA helped pay the cost of lifting our house. So, we are among the incredibly fortunate, very few people who got to avail ourselves of this incredible program, which is now all gone. So I want to say to our government officials, how dare you, first of all, ignore the climate crisis? How dare you? This is the sun and the water and the air and the soil and the planet that made us. How dare you? But if you're going to ignore the climate crisis and then yank FEMA away, I'm sorry. No excuses. Thank you.
Thank you. 14.
I'm Tara Rodoni, and I am new to Louisiana. I've lived in 6 countries, been to about 98, lived in all 50 states. And I've worked for Nelson Mandela, and I volunteer in Ukraine. So I bring a global perspective to everything that's happening. I was going to bring up the bill about the judicial. This bill that they're talking about is supposed to be a budget bill. It is not supposed to have policy about judicial policy. And what was left out about this is the language makes it retroactive. So any of these people that have been charged with contempt would have those contempt charges removed. That's not supposed to be part of a budget bill. Second of all, I am really tired. I'm a Christian, I'm proud of being that, but I am sick and tired of our government shoving this fake Christian messaging. When I hear Mike Johnson stand up there and say that he lives every day by the Bible, I want to remind him of Matthew 6:24. No one can serve 2 masters. You either hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. He stood up and tried to bring censorship against Senator Padilla while ignoring what Mike Lee had to say about the Democrats who were murdered in their house. He resorted to a childish racial comment calling him Jose Padilla, which is not his name and has never been his name. These are the people that are supposed to be standing up representing the best of America. And instead, what we've got is the garbage of America. One more thing. I never believed that people could sell their souls, but I believe that Mike Johnson has sold his soul and is the biggest example of it. I pray for him because I think he is going to hell faster than any of us, but in the meantime, he's taking us down with him.
Thank you. Do we have a number 15? And while she's coming, let me just, I told y'all this was not a partisan, I should say, not a partisan event and not a religious event. But in law school, they taught us about utilizing the authority of the law in order to represent our clients. It is the same in our spirituality. So if you want to know if somebody is a Christian, you judge them by the fruit that they bear. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. If you don't find this in people who are calling themselves Christians, they are liars and the truth is not in them. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, appreciate you. Caitlin Joshua, born and raised in Baton Rouge. And we are just a couple days out from the Dobbs decision anniversary. For folks that are not aware, I know it's been a crazy year, but certainly wanted to uplift that and talk a little bit about reproductive health care. I've been pretty public with my story over the last few years when I was denied health care at 11 weeks pregnant, when I was miscarrying right here in Baton Rouge, was not able to get care at any of the hospitals in the area. And ultimately, it took me right under 2 months to pass my pregnancy fully. And within that, I've been pretty blessed. Been able to travel the country with Biden and then Kamala for her campaign last year for over 7 months, doing the work, trying to spread information and awareness around what is happening in states. Yeah. Thank you. Trying to spread awareness about what's happening in states where people cannot get abortion access or don't have it when they need it the most. And I've met hundreds of women across this country that are living with the aftermath of that, from not being able to ever get pregnant again, so fertility issues, unable to pay their bills because we're left with the cost, even if we didn't get the care, and the mental toll and load that it takes on your family and your kids and your loved ones. And one thing that we learned, and I know this isn't just about elections and policy, but I have to say, one thing that we learned was folks that needed to hear these stories the most, not only did not vote on it, they didn't see it. They didn't hear it. It didn't come across their social media. It wasn't available on their TVs. And so for myself and a lot of storytellers, and I know Nancy's somewhere in here now, our mission and goal has been to make sure that people are having these conversations over dinner tables. And that conversation looks very simple, quite honestly. People want to have those conversations with the people they trust the most, and that is y'all, whether that is, with the most conservative family member that wouldn't necessarily talk about reproductive health care. They need to understand and connect the dots that abortion care is health care, and at some point, your loved one's going to need it. So Americans didn't necessarily vote because they were not convinced that Trump was going to jeopardize reproductive health care, and most certainly were not convinced that he would ever pass a national abortion ban. But what that looks like now is cutting Medicaid. It is cutting Planned Parenthood funding and groups that are doing the work. I like to say the work of the Lord, giving people access to the care that they need in the most vulnerable communities. And ultimately, this idea that you can incentivize insurance companies to not cover abortion care. And to me, that's a national abortion ban in and of itself. And that is happening right now. It is a part of that big, ugly bill, and we just need to make sure that we are pushing back. And I have to say, Julia Letlow, you're a woman. What a shame that she's not saying anything about healthcare. And same with Cassie and Kennedy. I don't expect more from them, but just have to just highlight the fact that Julia said nothing on the issue. So make sure we are bird dogging. I want to make sure they're uncomfortable going to the grocery stores. If you see them around, if you have an opportunity to have a conversation with them, please share stories of women that are doing the work every single day to make sure that people are connecting the dots around reproductive health care. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Number 16.
Gosh, well, I just decided to speak when I pulled in today, so bear with me. I won't be quite as elegant. My name is Sandy. I'm an educator. I have a brother who is intellectually disabled and survives because of Medicaid. But today I'm going to talk about immigration, since it does seem to be on the forefront of my mind. In 1982, I married an immigrant, a French chef. He was wonderful. And I became a global citizen that year because I learned that while the United States is wonderful, other countries are good and perform other things even better than we do. It took lots of time and lots of money to get his green card. And I shudder to remember that a mistake was made on his green card. We put down, or his mother told him, the wrong location of where his great-grandfather was born. We had to fly all the way back over to the United States, or back to France, and be able to find out and fill out the paperwork again. I cannot imagine that he would be disappeared right now. He lived here 33 years, and he has passed away. But I think of all of the immigrants that maybe they made a mistake, and maybe their lawyer didn't catch it, and maybe they didn't have the funding to fly back and get it fixed, and maybe they're going to be disappeared. As an educator, I teach Hispanics. I worry every day if they are going to disappear. I also live in a rural area that is agriculture. They give, in Louisiana, the agriculture accounts for $7.3 billion of revenue. Most of this is the work is done by Latinos. Most of we pick our food. In my poor county, we get $70 to $65 million every year is put in by agriculture. It's sugarcane, soybeans. The workers are Hispanic. They are the ones who are bringing in that revenue to that poor parish. Well, I want to say that I just don't know how about these people that if they make a mistake, what will happen to them and how they will disappear. In 1989, my husband and I lived and we had a German nanny. In fact, our neighborhood had 8 to 10 German nannies. We had an extra room where they loved to stay. It was a rec room, and they would stay and hang out there. In 1989, that's when the Berlin Wall was coming down. All the girls said, people making fun of them because they were German. They were seeing documentaries. They were seeing about people that were disappearing and going to concentration camps. They realized that their grandparents were living during that time. They realized their grandfather had been, or several of the grandfathers had been in the military. They came to Michel. He was French. He was an immigrant. They trusted him. They couldn't believe it. They said, are they lying to us? This atrocity. It can't be. Why didn't my grandparents stand up? Why didn't they stop it? And Rosalie cried and cried and couldn't imagine that she was going to have to go back home and maybe eat her grandmother's apple pie again, or apple strudel, I gather they make. And we talked about it on and on. But I still have that memory of when I'm seeing these immigrants disappearing without due process, that maybe a mistake was born. Maybe they didn't know where their great-grandfather was born and put down something wrong on their card, that they are disappearing. So I'm going to be like those girls that were the German nannies and said, why didn't they do anything? I certainly don't want history to come back on me and my grandchildren. Ask, why didn't you do anything? Why not? So I'm here today. I'm really the only Democrat that I know. Certainly not in my rural area, certainly not in my profession. I just don't see a lot. So I'm here today to hopefully learn, what can I do to resist? What can I do to make a difference so that I don't have to wonder, why didn't I do anything? Thank y'all. Sorry.
Thank you. Number 17. Number 17.
I'm Maggie Bullock, and I'm 13 years old. Sorry if I cry, but I'm talking about this big bill that they're about to pass. My brother is 7 years old. I'm the oldest of almost 8. I have 2 brothers, Baylor and Will. One's 7, one's 1. My mother refuses to work. This isn't my mom. This is my stepmom. And when she does, it's not for a long time, and she does it probably just to prove a point. be viable for Medicaid because of our age and how she works. I don't have a lot of numbers with me, so I'm kind of nervous and I don't really know what to say, but that's about it. And I just wanted to talk to anybody who would listen, so.
Number 18. Number 18.
I can get it down. Thank you. Hello, my name is Catherine, and I'm a native. I've lived here all of my life. At any rate, as I look around this room, and please don't be offended, I'm a redhead, and I've been told all my life that redheads go bald. But anyhow, what I see is mostly gray and a lot of white. So my challenge to each of you is to recruit someone younger than you by at least 20 years. We're getting old, folks. And we need younger people who feel as passionately as we do. And thank each and every one of you for your time.
Y'all, that sounded like a call to action to me. All right, there's the first part of the call to action. 19.
People know me as M, and so I'll leave it at that. And I'm going to call Senator Cassidy to action. I would like to say to you, Senator Cassidy, isn't it time for you to completely relinquish your medical license? Don't worry about your senatorial job. We'll be taking care of that next year. And to everyone in the room, I'm going to share with you a word I've thought for a long time that I made up, but it's finally hit Google, and I didn't put it there. And to all of my representatives and senators, quit using the word privatization. It's not what it is. Let's call it what it is, profitization. Thank you.
Number 20. One of my favorite humans in the whole world, y'all. I don't know if she's going to introduce herself, so I won't call her name.
My name is Muriel Harrison. I'm the Executive Director for the Gardere Initiative. There are two issues that I would like to bring to your attention. One of the things is that earlier this year, the Baton Rouge Area Foundation released a study about violent crime in the Baton Rouge area. They did a 10-year study looking at who were committing the crimes, and they had young African-American males, 14 to 24 years old. Do you know that the number of prison beds are determined by the 4th grade reading level? Can you imagine? And so the two things, what has happened in our community, we have been funded by two federal funding agencies. One of them is drug-free communities. We receive $125,000 a year, and we're in the 9th year. But in this new bill, it's being deleted. There are 11 of these programs across the state of Louisiana. The other thing is that 21st century funds are deleted. And this state receives $27 million in 21st century. That is what helps us to do our after-school program and our summer program. Just think, across the state, if those funds are not available, how will we be able to do the work that we are doing? We have done, I have to brag, we've done a tremendous job. I want to tell you, in that study from Baton Rouge Area Foundation, what they showed on the map is like most of the crimes came from high poverty communities. And so that's Gardere. And then they overlaid it with red dots to show you where the crimes. Our community was not among them because of the work that we have done. Miss Lee is sitting back there. Raise your hand, Miss Lee, because she's my. But we have not had a homicide in Gardere since May of 2024. But without this federal funding, I can't even imagine what would happen in our community. How would we be able to provide those after-school programs and the summer programs? It's just a pipeline to get our boys into those prison beds. So please, we want our senators, our congressional people in Louisiana to keep those funds so that we can keep those boys out of prison. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison. Number 21. Number 21.
Good afternoon, y'all. My name is Jeremisha, and I am tired. 3 years ago, almost to the day, I stood at this podium in this sanctuary and told the audience that people who look like me are going to die as a result of Louisiana's abortion ban. And sadly, that was an accurate assessment. As I said before, I am tired. I'm the tired mama of a beautiful 15-month-old baby boy. I am a tired employee of Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast here in Baton Rouge. But most importantly, I am a tired Louisiana resident and voter. And I know that I'm not alone. Louisiana and its representatives here, they are proudly pro-life. But the public policy that they support reveals that, they have consistently failed to support life after birth. But just in case they forgot, let me count the ways that their policies are the antithesis of supporting life here in Louisiana. We banned abortion with one of the most restrictive laws in the country, while we have the highest maternal mortality rate in the country. Y'all want to cut SNAP benefits while we already have children at home right here going hungry. You don't want to pay people a living wage, but you wonder why Louisiana leads the nation in incarceration, in homelessness. And I could go on, but I'm gonna leave it there because I know we're on a tight schedule. So my ask to them would be that y'all just really keep it real. You should have been here today to tell people to their face, specifically me. Tell me to my face that you don't care if I live or die giving birth. Tell me to my face that you don't care about whether my son eats, whether he has childcare or health care, as y'all proactively work to defund the place that pays me. And look me in my face and say that what we are doing is criminalizing being poor, black, and hungry.
Number 22. Number 22. Y'all get ready. This is a hot one. Hey, Keena. I probably shouldn't have called her name, but she's my friend.
Don't tell on me. My name is Wakina, but most people call me Keena, and I have 4 things that I'm going to share with you all today. A fact, a complaint, a question, and an appeal. So the factoid is that there's a Frenchman, and I'm not even gonna pretend to say his name, because somebody in here said something about being French or connection, and I don't wanna mess the name up. But he was the architect behind the Statue of Liberty, and what most people don't know is that he was the co-founder of the French Anti-Slavery Society. He was a, big it up, and he was an activist who was very much supportive of ending chattel enslavement. And so the Statue of Liberty was brought to the United States to commemorate the freedom of enslaved people in this country. All right, so that's important. That's the context. America was celebrated for freeing enslaved and human trafficked Africans, all right? And this is where we are. So here's my complaint, because I do believe that sometimes when you complain, it's worth complaining. Over $600,000 was spent when the Black Lives Matter sign was removed from Washington, D.C. And I think it's interesting that the call is made to save money, but also how do you save money by spending money to get rid of yellow paint? It doesn't make sense. The math is not mathing. So that is my complaint. Here is my question to our representatives, particularly the one who sent his team here, Representative Cleo Fields. If this big ugly bill passes, we need a database. Our state needs a database of collective resources so that people know where they can get Narcan, so that people know where they can get Plan B, so that people know what they can do when they have to protect their neighbors from ICE agencies. And so I think that our rep, this is the Aries rising in me that says, let's create a solution ahead of the drama, ahead of the death, ahead of the continued disposition of people. And then this is my appeal to everyone in this room. So Callie House was a woman who was born enslaved in the United States, and she was one of the leaders of the National Ex-Slave Mutual Relief and Pension Association. She was a woman who created mutual aid because when people left enslavement, they needed ways to bury their dead and take care of their sick and provide housing for their community. And so we all can honor the legacy of this beautiful, amazing woman, Callie House, by being prepared to do just that. Being prepared to feed the hungry, to aid the sick, to help people bury their dead. And so now is the time for us to think about what does mutual aid look like in Baton Rouge. Thank you.
Number 23, number 23. It's okay. Nancy, you're next. You're next.
I like my public school. Don't worry. I don't want the funding to go away. I want everyone to be happy.
One time for the superstar. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nancy Davis. Some of y'all may know my story, but today it is much bigger than me. And before I get started, let me just say this loud and clear. This message is not for everybody, but the ones it's meant for, you're gonna feel it. Now, I'm not a preacher, but I do have a word, and that word is freedom. Everyone loves to talk about freedom in this country, but let's just be real. For folks like us, especially black women in the Deep South, we have never truly been free. Not since, thank you, not since they brought our ancestors here in chains. They took our bodies, our children, our choices, and centuries later, they are still trying to control us. What kind of freedom is it when you're forced to carry a pregnancy you know will not survive? What kind of freedom is it when you gotta leave your home, your state, your family, just to get medical care? What kind of freedom is it when lawmakers cut Medicaid, defund Planned Parenthood that so many of us depend on, and then call it pro-life? That is not freedom, that's oppression dressed up in a suit. They do not want us to be, They don't want us to be free because when we're free, we are powerful. When we speak out, organize, vote, and demand better, we literally shake the table. But here's what they forgot. We come from survivors. We come from people who fought with nothing but faith, fire, and each other. So I'm standing here today as a mother, as a fighter, and as a voice for every woman, every family, and every child growing up in a state that keeps trying to silence us. Let's get free, all the way free, for us, for our kids, and for the ones who did not make it. Thank you.
Number 25.
I never know where this is supposed to be. There, all right. Hey, I'm Jacob Newsom. I'm speaking on behalf of Baton Rouge DSA and just also on behalf of myself. And I appreciate all y'all coming out today to stand in defiance to what is very clearly tyranny, regardless of party affiliation. Okay.
Oh. This is called life, everybody.
All right, no, you can't talk into it. Look, I had a prompt today, which is, what would you say to your senator, your representative? But quite frankly, I'm just not going to do that. I'm really glad the mic faces this way, because I was planning on being theatrical and turning my back on them anyway. Okay. But they turned their back on us a long time ago. The first time they took one of them oil slick dollars out of Exxon's hands, they stopped worrying about what we needed and they start worrying about what they wanted. Removing some of these jokers out of office is not enough. Because guess what? If Cassidy goes, you know who's replacing him? Miguez. If you had the pleasure of talking to Blake Miguez, the guy that used his latest commercial to show off how good he is at shooting targets, it's nonsense. It's a revolving wheel. But look, I'm not going to bemoan a bear for being a bear. If I left my food out at a picnic and a bear ate it, that's what bears do. How much different would this country look if our Congress was full of working class individuals instead of millionaires and multimillionaires, or for that matter, 100,000-aires? I'm a school teacher. I'm never going to see $100,000. If you do, I'm so jealous. I'm so happy for you. But the people in Congress are doing what they do best. They're looking out for people like them. The problem is, they're not like us. Oh wait, that's a Kendrick Lamar lyric. I didn't even realize.
Not like us.
They're not ever going to be like us. They don't have a connection to the land. They don't have a connection to community. If they did, they'd be here. Some of them have never been here. Some of them, no offense, are from Mississippi. They're not even from here. And they go up there and act like Foghorn Leghorn or something and make us all look foolish. He can't even get the accent right, y'all, and we letting him run. Look, it's SNAP today, it's Medicare today, it's voting rights, it's all this today. What's it going to be tomorrow? We're going from crisis to crisis to crisis. Aren't y'all tired of having the wool pulled over y'all's eyes? Aren't you tired of being baited and switched? Aren't you tired of the party currently upset about ICE funding ICE when they're in power? It's systematic. This idea that we can get rid of 2 or 3 of these and everything be better, it's not realistic, it's fantasy. We know what we need. They don't. They know what they want, once again. So, look, I grew up in the Baptist church, and Baptist church, especially foot washers like we was, is all about asking tough questions. And here's my tough question. if ICE and immigration walked in this building right now and snatched one of us up, what would you do? No, not what you would like to think you would do. What would you actually do?
Stand up.
A lot of people would like to think, I see that racetrack, man, that's such a good racetrack. A lot of people would like to think that they would do something. I would like to think I would do something, but do you have a plan? They have a plan for us. Do you have a plan for them? Will you stand between them? Will you distract? What will you do? Because we got to act like it was too late yesterday. Because I got news for you. I grew up out on the swamp. It is too late yesterday. You know, the more I think about it, here's another question. Am I running out of time? Oh, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I got wrapped up in what I was doing. Look, if you're tired of being the rigmarole, go talk to your neighbors. Go talk to your community. Build your own community because they don't have community with us. Thank you.
Our last speaker, y'all. Our last speaker.
Hi, my name is Molly Phillips, and I'm standing here because my uncle died in the Normandy invasion fighting fascism. And that's what we have to stand up to today. Our representatives, our elected officials are not representing us appropriately. They don't care. And so we as people have to stand up, and I know you've heard a lot today, and I want to wrap up because I know you're ready to go home. And I just want to give you a couple of statistics or things. Call DC, call them repetitively. If you can't through to their DC office, Cassidy's office is very good, they know me by heart now, in the Baton Rouge office, call them, complain, have your facts, be real succinct and give them to them. And Kennedy is very hard to get into. Now you can't get into his local offices. You can sometimes get into DC. But I just wanted to run down these few little bullet points just for some things, for food for thought, that maybe nobody talked about and said today. One, no to public land of our sales of our public land. That will go to oligarchs. We won't ever see that property again. That's our property. That's all for profit. Everything they're doing in that bill is to make money so they can give billionaires the tax cuts on our backs, and they don't need it. And that makes me so angry because that's not the country I grew up in. And that's not the America I want to live in for my nieces and nephews and my daughters and for our country. Also, don't lift the ban on asbestos. This administration is all about social murder, and that's a real term. If you don't know that, look it up. I mean, they're cutting Medicaid. They want to cut Medicare. Louisiana is second in the nation of Medicare recipients. That 32.4% of the citizens in Louisiana are on Medicaid. What's going to happen to them? They get rid of FEMA. They said, well, we'll give money to the governors. Louisiana's a poor state. We don't have the resources to rebuild for hurricanes and floods and tornadoes. Look what Trump did to Huckabee in Arkansas for tornadoes. So we've got to stand up, people. No to the war in Iraq. We can help Israel, but we don't need to bomb Iran. I mean, that's just no, a big no. Also, they want, I said maybe this, to lift the ban on asbestos. That's crazy. I mean, that's horrible. And also, just if you didn't know, Mike Johnson just this week talked about legalizing gun silencers. Why do you want to legalize silencers? He said it's a piece of equipment and it's covered by the Second Amendment. Hello, you use silencers to murder people. And we don't need that. So these are things I'm urging you to call. And also, just one last tidbit. Louisiana is the #1 state, if you didn't know this, in disaster recipient help in the United States. So we've got to stand strong, people. Call, do whatever, write, stick together. We have to protest. We have to stand. I mean, at least we can try, because right now we're becoming no better than with what ICE is doing to immigrants, no better than Nazi Germany in the late 30s and picking people off the street. That's That's not the America we love and what we, this Constitution stands for. Also, I have a niece, a great niece, that's transgender, and she's in her early 20s. What's going to happen? Why do those people have no rights? Why are they like being made targets? And so I urge you, stand up for all people, for diversity. We're a country made of all sorts of people, especially Louisiana. We're a melting pot, and that's what's made us great. And actually, we're all illegal except for indigenous people. Stand up, stand tall, and power to the people.
Power to the people. Power to the people. I want to thank everybody who shared their thoughts, their concerns, and asked their questions today. I don't think that let me just be really clear. We didn't waste a minute. Everybody who was here had something that would make the rest of our lives better. I want to, did you feel the pain? Did you feel the frustration? These threats are real, y'all. They are real. People of character and conscience must act to defend and protect our country and our rights, our freedoms, and our liberty. Elections have consequences. But guess what? The fact that you are here today, exemplifies the courage of every one of you. And I am so glad to be standing here with all of you. So what do we do next? Before we get to that, I want to recognize the two people who were here from I'm still calling him Senator, from Congressman Fields' office. And one of you will come up and just say something to us. Both of you can come, but I'm gonna let one of you say something about your office and the level of commitment that we have seen from Congressman Fields, y'all. The first town hall in Louisiana, he held at Southern University several months ago. And, we were there too. Okay. Introduce yourself and just say a word.
While that's coming up, can I just say, I'm sorry I had to hold up.
That's Lisa, y'all. She was the timekeeper for today. Thank you, Lisa. And introduce yourself and...
Hello, everyone. My name is Journey Smith, and I'm one of the federal caseworkers, field representatives, and I host all of our youth programs in the office of Congressman Cleo Fields here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm here with my fellow caseworker, Carlette Dunn. She also is a field representative, so anytime the congressman cannot attend, like today, when he's hosting a town hall in Shreveport, we go and we speak on behalf of the congressman. So I wrote down some notes in addition to all of the beautiful stories and messages that you all shared. And I just wanted to remind you to call your representative's office. 10 times out of 9, you'll speak with myself or Carlette or one of our interns or the scheduler, and we will make sure the congressman, if he doesn't read what you say that same day, the very next day when he's in office, we're giving him each and every point verbatim. We take your name. We want to make sure that we're as engaged as possible as we can be with you all. Also, make sure you use our resources. We're caseworkers, so we can consult with federal agencies on behalf of you. We have programs for the youth, like the Congressional Award. We're about to launch our app challenge. We have a surplus book program where we give you books from the Library of Congress, totally for free at no cost to you. So make sure you're contacting our office, write into us. Even if you call, make sure you also send a message so that we can print that out and put it on his desk for him. And we also literally help everyone. So Republican, Democratic, no matter what issues you have, do not be afraid to call, contact, even come in and just visit and say, hey, I just wanted to see, my congressman, see if he's in office, leave this message, leave this note, we get everything. And make sure you use your voices at midterms as well. Elections are coming up, and that's your opportunity to say what you need to say with your votes. And the last thing I'll do is leave you with the White House phone number, because a lot of people have questions, comments, and concerns, and we want to make sure that your voices are heard. So let me know when you're ready. The White House, this is the comment line for the White House switchboard. So it'll be 202-456-1111. So 202-456-1111. And if you'd also like to know, correct.
My dream, I still have.
Perfect. Yes. And if,
202-456-1111. Put it in your phones. 202-456-1111.
well, I'm not the congressman, so I can't speak.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, all right. Okay, if you have to leave, we just got a couple more minutes, y'all, but if you have to leave, please don't forget to leave your index card with any questions or comments that you want to get to your electeds. I want to all of the organizations that helped us put this on together today. You got to meet Gerald earlier. Gerald, please stand up for me or wave your hand so everybody can see you. You heard from Planned Parenthood, the National Organization for Women, Together Baton Rouge, and there are several other groups. If I miss somebody, please yell out your names, your organization, because I tried to make sure that I got everybody. The Next Right Thing, Lift Louisiana, Democratic Socialists. I said Planned Parenthood, but we gonna say it again, Planned Parenthood. All right, y'all, thank you so very much. So I hope that everybody feels energized by what you have witnessed today and what you have experienced. Let me leave you with this. We have power. Can you say it with me? We have power. We have power. I want to say to you, your power is inextricably tied to your vote. You can make a difference. If we all get, y'all, we will never get the kind of government that we want if we don't vote. We may get the government we deserve, but we will not get the government that we want. And we don't deserve this, y'all. We really don't. Even if we never voted, we don't deserve what we're doing right now, what we're experiencing right now. You heard someone come up and tell you to download the 5 Calls app on your phone. You will see a script and a menu of issues, and make a plan to call your elected officials. Every day. Finally, we are all volunteers and we receive no outside funding. So if you would like to help us to pay for rent and the cost of these events, you can donate. You can donate to 10,000 Women. You can donate to Indivisible. We have t-shirts out front. And for those ladies who are of a certain age, I did not wear my menopause militia shirt today. But I got some outside, and I got my menopause militia shirt right here. Part of the menopause militia, y'all. Talk about freedom. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. There are signs at the check-in desk with a QR code. You can pick up a flyer on your way out. You can go to our website at 10,000womenla.org and make a contribution to us. But the important thing is to do something. The important thing is to do something, to meet up, to speak out for your community. I thank you for coming. We have the room for a little bit longer. If you want to meet up with some of those organizations that I called out, including 10,000 Women, we'll be around for a little bit so you can ask questions about what we do. I did introduce you to what we do at the beginning of this event, but I can't tell you what it means to me personally that you spent your beautiful Saturday afternoon here with like-minded people who are concerned about the future of our nation, who are concerned about the future of our state and our city. There's much work to do. And if it's not 10,000 Women or Indivisible, find an organization that is focused on the things that are of great concern to you. But what I know is that when we stand together, if we stand together so close that none of us could fall because of the one that's standing next to us, we can accomplish all of the things that we want to accomplish for our nation, to have an inclusive nation, and we can take back the kindness, the civility that we long for in this nation. I'm not going to talk about any individual. Vote. There's a petition. Tell me about the petition. Come to the mic. But I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to ask you, this is my call to action. I need you to vote. And I need you to vote in every election. I need you to vote up and down the ballot. I need you to vote on every proposition, constitutional amendment, everything, and every office. It does not do any good to choose a president that you know will do well for you and not give him a Congress. I need you to vote up and down the ballot. Up and down. Doesn't do any good to get a governor and then not give him the kind of legislature that he needs, or to get a mayor and not give him or her the kind of council that they need. You have to vote up and down the ballot. Vote like your lives and the lives of your children and grandchildren depend on it. I just got my first grandchild a couple of years ago, y'all. My fight is reignited. Vote like your lives and your grandchildren's lives depend on it, because they do.
But we have a petition which is, we the people are demanding that the Supreme Court protect our Constitution, defend our
closer to the mic.
It is not a flexible document. It is our foundation, and the Supreme Court needs to act like the Supreme Court. So our goal before they come back in session in September is to have 5 million handwritten signatures. We are at 2 million right now. The ACLU, Southern Poverty Law Center, the ABA, International, or the National Organization of Now, are all helping support this. It's now in Baton Rouge, and we'd love for you guys to sign. It's in the kitchen. It's in the kitchen area.
Thank you all for being here, and I look forward to getting together with you again soon. Thank you.